by Helen Scher.
I don't know if I have any.
I don't even remember my train of thought. I couldn't even breathe, and that really showed. Hello book lovers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph, and in today's video we will be doing Battle of the Book Besties, episode 1. So hello, welcome to a new series that I am hoping to start on my channel. I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know if people will be interested in participating, but me and my bestie Baylee were thinking about a collab video that we wanted to do, and then I got to thinking about, instead of just doing a classic book swap situation, why don't we make it so that it is like a battle between the two of us? So as you guys know, I did want to put my own little spin on this, my own little twist on this. So let me explain how this video is going to work. Essentially, I just want to know if I know my besties and if they know me, who knows each other better. I personally feel like I am kind of a book expert and I can recommend books really, really well. So we are going to put that to the test today. So here is how this video works. So me and Baylee got to talking and we decided that we want to do 3 books. Baylee is also going to be doing this video, so I will leave Baylee's video linked down below. Hopefully, we are hoping that both of our videos will be coming out on the same day. If they, for some reason, do not come out on the same day, I will come back to this video and link her video or vice versa. So we have decided on 3 books. So the first book that we picked for each other is a book that we both really, really enjoyed, and we think that the other person will also enjoy that book. It is one that we think is like an elite book. It's one of our favorite books. It's one that we really enjoyed, and we think that the other person is really going to like it. So just a basic, regular recommendation. Very, very easy, very simple. So we are both going to read that book. Here's where things get a little bit more fun and interesting. So for the second book, it is going to be a book that we personally just did not like, did not vibe with, were really disappointed in it. Even if we thought it was just okay, it was just a very disappointing book, or just a book that we absolutely hated. But the kicker here is that we did not like this book, but we feel like the other person is going to like it. So a book that I was disappointed by, or a book that I hated, that I think Baylee or my bestie would really, really enjoy, that is the second book. And then the third book for this video is kind of the opposite of that. And it is a book that we really, really, really enjoyed, but it is very out of the other person's comfort zone, or it is one that we don't think that the other person is going to enjoy very much. So again, this is just kind of to see who knows each other's tastes better, who knows each other better, who is better at recommending books. And at the end of this video, I will show you the head-to-head battles on which one we liked better and who ends up winning this episode. If you do want to participate in this new series, then please let me know. You guys can always just leave me a comment on this video, send me a message on Instagram, and we can definitely arrange something for future episodes. I just think that this would be such a fun video idea to kind of see how well you know your best friends here on booktube, but also are you actually a book expert, and do you actually know how to recommend really good books? Or in the case of book number 3, if you know how to recommend books that other people might not like that you personally did enjoy. So I will give you guys my TBR and also the TBR that I gave to Baylee. Again, Baylee is going to be making a video as well, so you can always go and check out her video as well, but I will wrap up everything at the end of this video so you guys know exactly how all of the reading went. Okay, so first of all, let's start with my picks for Baylee, so you guys will be able to see what Baylee's TBR is going to be for this video. So for the first prompt of just a regular book recommendation that I think Baylee would love. So for my recommendation for Baylee, the book that I am recommending is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This is a romance book. You guys have heard me talking about this. This I think is one of my all-time favorite romance books. It does have the surprise pregnancy trope, which is a trope that Baylee really does like. So I think that this will be perfect. We both buddy read Ready or Not, which also has that trope, and both of these books have been compared to one another. I personally enjoyed this one better, and I am hoping that Baylee does as well, but this is the first pick for prompt number 1. I guess I will kind of just go back and forth with it so you guys will be able to know which book Baylee Baylee picked for me. So the book that Baylee picked for me for her recommendation is going to be Blood and Steel by Helen Schuwer. I think that's how you say her name. This is a fantasy romance, and I don't really know too much about this. I do know that she absolutely loved it. She had like visceral reactions while reading this book. It says that this is a slow burn, enemies to lovers, and it is a world of magic and monsters. So this sounds really good. It has also been compared to From Blood and Ash, which is a book that when I did read it, I really enjoyed it. So I do have high hopes for this, and I am very excited for this. So then pick number 2, again, is a book that we were personally disappointed by, but that we think the other person would enjoy. And the book that I am picking for Baylee is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I did not give this book a bad rating. It was just a book that I had such high hopes for because I had it on my TBR for so long. I had heard nothing but good things about it. And when I read it via audio, I feel like that really like hindered my experience, and I wasn't like fully immersed in the story. I felt like it was kind of choppy the way that the story was told. But I know that she has had this on her list of books that she has wanted to read for a very long time. I am hoping that she does enjoy this. This is essentially following 2 twin sisters, both who live very different lives. Again, I just don't think that this like lived up to exactly what I had in my brain. So I am very curious to see what Baylee thinks of this one. And then the book that Baylee picked for me is Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. I had never even heard of this book, but I am thankful that she picked this because this is very short. I believe it is only around like 100 pages. The only thing I know about this is it is like a fantasy novella. I will just read the description because it is actually pretty short. It says, there is a wild man who lives in the deep quiet of Green Hollow, and he listens to the wood. Tobias, tethered to the forest, does not dwell on his past life, but he lives a perfectly unremarkable existence with his cottage, his cat, and his dryads. When Green Hollow Hall acquires a handsome, intensely curious new owner in Henry Silver, everything changes. Old secrets better left buried are dug up, and Tobias is forced to reckon with his troubled past, both the green magic of the woods and the dark things that rest in its heart. So I'm going to be honest, this doesn't sound like my typical read or cup of tea, but I'm sure that there was something going on in this book that made Baylee think that I would enjoy it. So I am happy that it's very short, and I'm hoping that it does give me like very creepy vibes, because then it would definitely be a book for me. And then finally, the last book, which is kind of like my favorite prompt, is a book that I absolutely loved that I think is just not going to work for everybody, and I don't know how Baylee will feel about it. And that is Shark Heart by Emily Haybeck. This is like such a unique story. It is a love story, and the thing about this premise, the only thing I think you should know about this going in is that you are following a married couple, Lewis and Ren, and Ren is told that he has this like genetic mutation that is essentially going to change him into a shark eventually, and that is all I will say. Very bizarre, but this is definitely one of like my all-time favorite book. It is on my favorite books bookshelf. It definitely lives in my head rent-free, and I am so excited for more people to read it. So that is kind of why I wanted to recommend it to Baylee, and she also did really want to read this book. I tried to pick books for her that were on her like want to read from Goodreads already, but yeah, so this is my third pick for her. And then the book that Baylee picked for me is going to be The Zodiac Academy. This is going to be book 1, The Awakening. So this is a fantasy romance, and the only thing I know about this is that we are following people who attend this Zodiac Academy where your star sign kind of like determines your destiny. I have seen very good things about these books, so I am curious to kind of see where I fall. It definitely doesn't sound like my cup of tea, but I am very like interested to see how I feel about it. So yeah, those are the picks. I will jump back on here when I have some updates. I will probably give you guys updates when we have both finished our books. I can kind of compare who gave their book the higher rating, and whoever gave their book the higher rating is going to be considered the winner of that round. And if you win 3 rounds or 2 rounds, then you will be the winner of this episode. It's very lighthearted. I'm not taking myself too seriously. I know Baylee isn't taking herself too seriously either. This is all just for fun and to kind of see like who can recommend each other like better books. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments if you guys are interested in this series, and let me know if you guys want to be a part of future episodes. I think that this would be just like so fun just to see like how good we are at like knowing each other. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this intro. So I will check back in once I have some updates, and then I will conclude this video with like an overall like how the video went. But I hope you enjoy Battle of the Book Besties episode 1. Hello. So it has been a couple of weeks since I did film that intro, and me and bestie Baylee have read all of the books. So I was going to make like a vlog type style video, but then I did decide that I was just going to do like a sit down, more so like a wrap up type of video. So let me know which one you guys prefer. I just felt like because we read the books at like different times and at our own pace, that this would kind of be the easiest way to film this. But let me know if you guys prefer like more so vlog style as opposed to like sit down wrap up style. But yes, I hope you guys are all excited to know who won Battle of the Booktube Besties. So we will start with book number 1. So just to refresh your memory, even though it has been a couple weeks for me and it has been like probably only minutes for you, so technically I'm just refreshing my memory, but book number 1 was just a like straight out just recommendation, a book that we loved, that we think the other person would also just love, just a book that we really wanted to recommend to our bestie. So I recommended Baylee Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young, and if you want to see her thoughts and feelings on the book, then please head over to Baylee's vlog that she did for this video. I will give you her rating and who won, but if you do want her like in-depth thoughts and feelings, please go and check out her video. And for me, Baylee did recommend me Blood and Steel by Helen Schuer. So now that I have finished the book, I can give you guys a little bit more detail on what this book is about. So essentially we are following a female main character named Althea, and she is basically told at the beginning of this book there is something, I don't 100% remember exactly what it is. I think it's some type of stone that essentially tells her that she only has 3 years to live. So she has always wanted to be like a warrior. She has always wanted to fight. She's always like training in secret because in this world, women are not allowed to fight and train and like yield steel. And her main purpose is basically to try and be able to break that whole thing of women are not able to fight and yield steel. So she does go and talk to the king and try to bargain a way that she will be able to join these soldiers and also be able to yield steel. And then we have Wilder Hawthorne, who is the love interest in this book. He is one of, I believe it's 3 warriors, and that's kind of all I will say about that. I do feel like the synopsis of this book does give away too much. I just want to keep it very, very vague because I do feel like there are some good reveals that do happen in this book that are best read before you read the synopsis. So yeah, that is going to be my like very brief but a little bit better of a synopsis than I gave you in the previous clip. I will just say that I did end up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars. So this was definitely a success. This was definitely a book that I did appreciate being recommended to me. I did have a very good time reading it. While I was reading it, I will say that I was kind of in this headspace of missing romantasy. I really did enjoy reading some romantasy in the past, and I don't typically pick this genre up, but while I was reading this book, I was just thinking to myself, like, I really do miss a good romantasy. They are usually a lot easier for my like little brain to comprehend the fantastical world. Not all the time. I am not grouping them all into like this category, but for the most part, they are a little bit more digestible for me specifically because I do have a very hard time with fantasy. And then the romance elements in the books do make it a lot easier. So I do really miss some romantasy. So I was very appreciative of that. I do think in 2025, I'm going to try and gear myself towards reading a little bit more of that just because I do have a good time with it. But the problem that I do have with that is that it is usually a trilogy or more books, and I am just not a series girly. The more that I think about it, I just really am not a series girly. So that is kind of why I steer away from that. In terms of this book, I don't know why, but all of the notes that I wrote down about all 3 books that I read are no longer in my phone. So I am just going to try and remember my thoughts and feelings off the top of my head. So I did like the pacing of this book, and I did like the story. I thought that it was very similar to a different romantasy book that I did read, just based on Althea and kind of how she is approaching the kings to try and be able to become this soldier. I don't think that there was anything groundbreaking about this book. I think that if you are in the mood for a romantasy, then this would be perfect, but I don't think that anything that happens in this book is going to be shocking to you or surprising. As someone who doesn't really read a lot of this genre, I still kind of saw a lot lot of things coming, but it was still really, really enjoyable. I did really like a lot of the scenes. I'm not like huge into action scenes, so anytime that anything like that was going on, I kind of lost me, but that is a me thing and not the books thing. I also really liked a lot of the side characters that we are introduced to. I feel like the focal point was not always between our two main characters. There are some really good side characters in this book that also add a lot to the story and help the story's plot also move further along. So again, I did give this a 4 out of 5 stars. So for book number 1, you may be wondering who won the battle. And I am happy to say that Baylee did give Out on a Limb a 5 out of 5 stars. So I am going to take the win for book number 1, which was just a plain old recommendation. But in Baylee's defense, it is extremely hard for me to give a book a 5 star. I really do not give out too many 5 stars. I think last year I literally only gave 1 or 2 books a 5 star. I am just like a very hard person to please, so I'm definitely not going to count Baylee out for this, but I am definitely taking the win for book number 1. So then for prompt number 2, it is a book that we personally did not enjoy, but that we think the other person would enjoy it more so. So for Baylee's pick, I did pick The Vanishing Half for her. That is not a book that I absolutely hated, but it was just something that I was expecting to like more based on the hype. But I did feel like Baylee would enjoy that book. So again, if you do want to see Baylee's thoughts, go and check out her video. And then the book that she did pick for me is Silver in the Woods by Emily Tesh. She says that she thinks that I would like the writing and the vibes of this book, so let's get right on into it. So this book is kind of hard to explain what it really is about. I actually listened to this audiobook twice because it is very, very short. I believe that this book is only like 100 pages, and the audiobook I was able to finish in less than an hour or around an hour. It was very short for me, so I did listen to it once, and then I feel like I didn't 100% grasp everything that happened in this story, so I did end up listening to the entire book again. And I'm gonna be honest, I did grasp some of it, but I still feel like I am missing the main point of this book, and this book was just not for me. So I did end up giving this book a 2.5 stars out of 5. So this is following Tobias, who is basically in the woods living in this cottage, and then there is this new owner that comes to town named Henry Silver, and the both of them form this friendship. So yeah, Tobias is kind of this like hulking, basically like a friendly giant is how I pictured him in my head. And then Henry Silver is just this very like simple character is kind of how I picture it, and the two of them really do complement each other quite well. Henry Silver also has a mother that is introduced in this book, and she is just such a great character. I do think that she was kind of my favorite part of this novella. I found that I would have rated this higher if I had gotten more of her character and her storyline within this story. But yeah, I really don't even know what this book was trying to really do in the end. I did feel like the ending was satisfying, and I liked kind of what happened with Henry and Tobias and all of the reveals that happened. If you have read this, then I believe that you will know what I am talking about, but this definitely was not a hit for me. The points that Baylee made on saying that I would vibe with the writing style and the vibes, I think the vibes were kind of half there, just with like the dark eeriness of being in the woods, but the writing style was just a little bit too magical for me, fantastical for me. I am a little bit more of a simpleton when it comes to that. So I do believe she was a little bit off with this one. So yeah, I did give this one a 2.5 stars out of 5. Now for Baylee's rating, she did end up giving The Vanishing Half a 3 out of 5 stars. She basically just said that she really did not like it and probably won't ever think about it again or recommend it. So it was just a very, very average read for her. So for pick number 2, I gave my book a 2.5 stars. She gave her book a 3 stars. I'm kind of just going to cut it in the middle and say that those were both just very average reads. And I don't think that neither me or Baylee really picked good books for this second one. So I'm just going to count this one as a wash and call it a tie for pick number 2. And then finally for book number 3, this is a book that we personally really, really enjoyed, but that we think the other person would absolutely hate. And this is just such a fun prompt, I think, because it is going to show whether or not we do know each other's reading tastes with things that we actually do not like. So yes, it is a little bit torturous to make your bestie read something that you think that they will hate, but I also think it's just such a fun prompt that you don't really ever see. So the book that I picked for Baylee to read was Shark Heart, which was one of my all-time favorite books last year. That book just holds such a special place in my heart, but I do really get scared recommending that book because the writing is very, very different and the story is extremely different, and it is also magical realism, which is so shocking to me because I absolutely hate magical realism. So I also just have a very hard time recommending this book. So I personally loved it. I did not think that Baylee would like it. Again, if you want her full thoughts on this book, go and check out her video. And the book that she picked for me was The Awakening by Caroline Peckham. I really wish I still had my notes in my phone. I wish they were not erased because I had a lot of thoughts on this book. I had a lot of hate thoughts on this book. So to be fair, I will just start this off by saying I did end up giving this a 1.5 stars out of 5. I do believe that it was the worst book that I read in the month of November. And I also just want to apologize if you are someone who loves this book. I am so sorry that I just really did not vibe with this book, but Baylee was 100% right in recommending me this book because she knew that I was going to hate it, and I absolutely did. So again, I don't want to shit on this book because I know that it is so popular and it is loved by so many, but it was just not for me. Okay, I actually lied, and while I was just looking, I did notice that I gave this a 1.75. I think I told you guys I gave it a 1.5. I actually gave it a 1.75. And my Goodreads review reads, so many awful lines in this. I was cringing and got secondhand embarrassment, which is so true. Now that I'm thinking about it, there were certain lines that our main characters said that just gave me secondhand embarrassment. Like, I couldn't believe that the author actually chose to put certain lines in this book. I was cringing. I was hard cringing while I was listening to this book, but let me give you guys a little bit more context on what this book is about. I literally couldn't even remember the twins' names, but I did find it, Darcy and Tori. So basically we are following two twins, Darcy and Tori, who are just living their regular lives. They're kind of getting into some trouble at the beginning of this book, and their world is turned upside down when a professor named Professor Orion shows up and basically tells them that their entire life has been a lie. They are actually these magical fae who need to attend this school called the Zodiac Academy because they are actually fae and their life as they knew it is a complete lie. They go to this school, they learn all about their past, their history, they learn all about this new magic. And while there is so much that goes on. There is like non-consensual things that are happening. There is bullying that is happening. There is just so much like things that are happening. This is a dark bully romance, I believe is what it is classified as. And I didn't know that going in. And that's not something that typically bothers me. I am fine reading like dark romances. I'm fine with any types of tropes. I'm kind of always open to that idea. This book was just not it. It was just really not enjoyable reading about these characters. It wasn't enjoyable about reading about any of their pasts and why things are happening. I'm sure that the guys that are in this book have a reason for being the way that they are. I am sure that everything is going to be answered. I am sure that you are maybe going to feel sympathy for some of these characters later on in the series, but it is just not something that I personally care about. I will not be continuing the series. I don't even think I want to get spoiled for this series because I truly just do not care. Not invested, absolutely hated it. I will have to say that Baylee did pick a great book that she knew I was going to hate because yeah, this was the worst book that I read in the month of November. And again, I ended up giving this one a 1.75 stars. Baylee, on the other hand, did end up giving Shark Heart a 4 out of 5 stars. So I definitely missed the mark on this one. I did not read Baylee's reading tastes well at all. So Baylee definitely won round 3 of this challenge. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video. There was no real winner in this challenge, I think, because for a book recommendation, I would say that I won that one, but I am also really hard to please. So it would be really hard to find me a 5-star read. Book number 2, I'm going to count as a wash. I gave my book a 2.5. She gave hers a 3-star. So I think that that one is kind of just both average reads. We thought that the other person would like that book, but they just ended up being very, very average. And then book number 3, Baylee blew me out of the water because I gave her recommendation a 1.75 stars where she gave mine a 4 stars. So this episode of Battle of the Booktube Bestie is definitely going to be a tie. Me and Baylee, I guess, kind of know each other the exact same way, which is so much fun. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, if you do want to see future episodes of Battle of the Booktube bestie. Let me know if you guys want to be featured in episode number 2. Currently, I do not have any plans to do another episode, but if you are interested, I would love to feature you on my channel and we can do a cute little like challenge video like this again. That is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did make it to the end of this video, leave behind your birthday month's zodiac sign in the comments down below to represent the worst book that was read for this video. If you did like today's video, you can also let me know by hitting that thumbs up like button. And as always, if you are new here, I would love to have you stick around. So please hit that subscribe button and I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye.